Okay, welcome back, class. So we have moved on to addition and subtraction of fractions. When we're adding and subtracting fractions, fractions can only be added or subtracted if their denominators are the same. When this is so, we can simply add or subtract the numerators. So in our example, in A, we have 4 nines plus 3 nines will give us 7 nines. Of course, we just simply add the numerators, 4 plus 3 is 7. With B, we have 7 twelfths, subtract 5 twelfths, we will get 2 twelfths. Now, this is something that I want you to take note of. Our final answer is not 2 twelfths. If you recall earlier in class, when we were converting a mixed number to an improper fraction, what we did was, not that. When we were dealing with equivalent fractions, right? So I'm sorry about the error from before. When we are dealing with equivalent fractions, is that we want to reduce our answer to its lowest form. And while 8 twelfths in the answer for B is correct, it is not the lowest form. So whenever we do calculations involving fractions, our final answer must always be reduced to the lowest possible form. And how we got 1/6, which is the equivalent of 2 twelfths, we simply divided 2 twelfths by 2. So here we would see, I'm going to add this here, right? So I'm going to add this here so you can see it. What we're going to have is 2 divided by 2. And then we have 12 divided by 2. That, my friends, is how we get 1/6 as our final answer. So whenever we are dealing with fractions, no matter what arithmetic operation we perform on the fraction, we always want to have our final answer reduced to its lowest forms. And we do this by finding the highest common factor between the numerator and the denominator to divide both the numerator and denominator in order to get a reduced form. Let's look at C. We have 3/5, 4/5, and 1/5. When we add these 3 fractions together, we end up with 8/5 with an improper fraction. Again, another rule of thumb here is that when our final answer is an improper fraction, we want to reduce it to its lowest form. In this case, its lowest form would be a mixed number. So it would be 1 and 3/5. And this is why it's important to know how to convert fractions from improper fractions to mixed numbers and vice versa. Here we have 11/15, subtract 4/15. This is the lowest form it can go to, so it's going to remain as is. And I'm just going to put that side note in right here for you guys. Any questions? Cameron?
Yeah, miss.
Do you understand? Do you have any questions?
No questions, miss.
Okay, do you have all these notes?
Yes, miss.
Okay, great, because I want to add at least 2 more things before we leave to wrap up addition and subtraction of fractions. And next class, what we will focus on is multiplication and division of fractions. All right, Cameron, I have this note taken down.
Yes, miss.
All right, so let me just explain it, and this would be the last thing before we wrap up. What we are going to do first is we're gonna convert this into a improper fraction. And that is how we got 5/4 here. So we multiply 1 by 4. 1 multiplied by 4 is equal to 4 plus 1 is 5/12. And now, the next thing we need to do is we need to make this all the same denominator. So we're gonna find what is equivalent of 5/4 in 12s, right? So basically we are going to, what we're gonna do is we're gonna find what is equivalent, and we're gonna use the same things we did earlier in class, right? Here, where we had multiplied 2 multiplied by 4 and 3 multiplied by 4 to get 8/12. So the equivalent of 5/4 and 12, we are going to multiply by 3 because 3 is the lowest common factor between 12 and 4. So it's going to, in order for us to get 15/12, it's going to become 4 multiplied by 3 is going to give us 12, and 5 multiplied by 3 is going to give us 15. All right, so we get 15/12, subtract 5/12. Now that both of them are the same denominator, we can now subtract the numerator, which gives us 10/12. What we need to do now is we need to reduce this to our lowest fraction. So we're gonna go back to this example here, where we reduce our lowest fraction, and we're gonna come here now, and it's gonna be 10 divided, what is the lowest common, what is the highest common multiple between 10 and 12? Well, it's actually 2. So 10 divided by 2 will give us 5, and 12 divided by 2 will give us 6. And that is how we get our final answer of 5, 6. Any questions?
No, miss.
Okay, great. So what I'm going to do is that I am going to email the class. What I'm going to do is, not tonight, tomorrow, I will email the class the homework for today's class, and next class would be at the same time, 6:30. Do you have any questions concerning anything we did in class today, Cameron?
No, miss.
Okay then. Well, that would be all for class for tonight. Do have a blessed night and take care.